If you have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome / hypermobility and neurodivergence, it can be really frustrating to feel well. I know for me, I have struggled for most of my life with why it didn't feel like my body was stable, why I kept having digestive issues and skin issues and just health issues in general. And I finally found, after years of looking up the best physical therapists, the best GI doctors, even dietitians, I have finally found the right people and the right treatments, the right routine, the right supplements, the right diets that fit me, that allow me to actually live well. Hello, welcome back to my podcast. My name is Ariel, and this is Feeling My Feelings, where I finally feel my feelings after years of dissociating from them, and after years of having these chronic health issues that I didn't know the root cause of until now. So a couple of years ago, I got diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I since then have been putting the puzzle pieces together of why I have always had these health issues. So I was somebody who went to physical therapy on and off for years, but never really found any solutions to how to make my body feel stable. I would often feel like I couldn't contract my muscles. And over the recent couple of years, I have found that I have been getting even worse overextension. I have felt like in whatever way I was trying to work out, I still cannot engage my muscles. I felt like it was difficult to do normal things, like sit at my desk, even walk, sleeping, breathing deeply. I love to sing, but I realized that as a hypermobile singer, it was really important for me to try to relearn how to align my body so I could actually breathe right to hold my body up. And all of this stuff has been so hard to sort of wrap my head around because I was given this diagnosis, but I still had a couple of years where I had to figure out the best way to help myself. I had gone to personal training this year, and even though my personal trainer was really great and sort of knew about hypermobility, he still didn't quite understand how to make me feel more stable and how I could reorient my muscles and my joints. I also have been dealing with a lot of health issues. To name off a few, I have had basically IBS, but also specifically SIBO, so intestinal bacteria overgrowth, Candida overgrowth, which is fungal overgrowth. And then I started from there to get a leaky gut. And then from there, my immune system started to go down a little bit. I started getting signs of like mold toxicity. And I can tell even just this past year, like you can see it in some of my videos, I haven't been able to podcast or really grow this channel the way that I wanted to because I felt like my energy was constantly going down. I was having trouble sleeping because I felt very weak or something. And later I found out that I had POTS, which is, I had low blood pressure. I would go to the doctor for general checkups and they'd be like, are you hydrating? Are you okay? like your blood pressure is super low. And this wasn't super bad, but I got to a point where I realized, I have dysautonomia now. Like my mitochondria need some help. So after years of treating a lot of things health-wise, I kind of put it together like, these are things that are sort of common with people with EDS or hypermobility. And I was just getting frustrated because I was like, I don't know that a lot of the doctors that I've worked with really understand what this is. Like I was diagnosed by a rheumatologist, but she basically just gave me like muscle relaxant medications. And then, she was like, you could go to physical therapy. But she even said to me then, like in that appointment, she was like, they may not understand how to help you, but they can help. It has been really frustrating for me to sort of hold the weight of dealing with these chronic issues and not having many people understand me. And it's so confusing, it's invalidating, plus it makes you think, no, I can do more. I can just like push through this. I can hustle. I can live normally, which you can, but it would be better to pay attention to the subtle differences in what makes you what your needs are. And so for me lately, I have actually luckily been finding the right people who finally understand what I'm going through, and it's been such a journey, but I'm hoping that now that we have more awareness and more tools and more people making content about this and like helping other people with it and getting more educated in it, we can lessen the amount of people who take so much time in their lives just trying to find someone who will actually listen. So something that has been a huge help is this app called Heal with Tracy. So Tracy is a corrective exercise specialist. She assembled a team of people, so dietitians, nutritionists, doctors, physical therapists, and they are all really familiar with and have worked with hypermobile people. She says on her app, and she says it a lot herself, to find people who are familiar with bendy bodies. And it's amazing because this app, it is a paid app, but you can get like a week free right now. And after that, it's really sort of low cost in comparison to even just like several co-pays with doctors. So it's really helpful because they not only have recommendations for supplements, they also have videos for corrective exercises as well. And the biggest plus that I found is they have live calls every week with specialists. So that's people who are physical therapists. They'll go through exercise routines. They will answer your questions. You get to be on video. Like they will advise you, they will talk to you and they will listen. So I've gone on the physical therapist, like corrective exercise calls, and those are great. On the app, on this call, these people are really adamant about making sure that you feel heard. And then I recently went on their dietitian call, and I really liked how, because I currently see a functional nutritionist, I think that it's really important that you also get the additional hypermobility perspective for if you're taking natural supplements. So with this person, she recommended a couple of things for me, in addition to what I was already taking for my conditions. So that's awesome. And I will share what those things are in a second. It is a place that I have not found in most of my time, and you would not believe how many types of doctors I have tried to go through. So that's awesome. They also have like general guides and trainings for typical conditions. So that's POTS, that's histamine intolerance, that's basically like recommended diet guides. Yeah. And I think it would be worth it to at least check it out. Check it out for a month or a couple months or just that week and see if it's helpful. If anything, I think those calls are super helpful for me. So that has been awesome. And then other people that I found, this physical therapist, his name is Drew, and his exercise routine and his Instagram handle is called the MonkeyBody. He basically does a lot of exercises that are rooted in Pilates, but he does cater them to and explains them to hypermobile people, because I do feel like, our muscle engagement, trying to find our core, trying to do normal exercises feels subtly different because we're always compensating. So he explains really well. So here is his page. I'll put these links in my description box below, but he is also a great resource. I believe he has a program as well that goes more extensively into like strength training and stuff as well, like based on Pilates movements. So definitely worth it to check it out. So here are all the things that I'm taking on a daily basis. It sounds overwhelming because it is, but these are things that have built up over time because I had other health conditions. I also trust that, I won't be treating these things forever, and that's the point. But I know that, and this is what one of the nutritionists from Heal with Tracy told me, it may not be something where I fully cure a lot of these digestive issues, but I won't have to take these supplements or treat it all the time. And if I ever have a flare-up or something, I just need to figure out, which I know now, how to get back to my baseline of health. And that is something that I'm aiming for, that I am feeling really good about, I think. So, okay. First of all, just for my general gut health, here are a couple of the things that I'm taking. I might not be showing everything, but firstly, for my stomach, I do have to make sure that I have some aid in digestion, because my digestion is a little bit slow. So I take digestive enzymes. I also try to help with my gut lining for leaky gut. So I take zinc kerosene. I also take L-glutamine. And then just for the bacteria overgrowth, and specifically for me right now, the fungal overgrowth, I take a supplement called Colorex. Throughout this year, I've taken other supplements. I work again with a specific functional nutritionist who I've seen a couple of times this year. We've done a couple of tests and stuff for my stomach, and I think I want to make a separate video on this, but I think it's worth it to, invest your time in treating your conditions naturally and maybe consulting a functional practitioner. Anyway, I also take a couple of supplements for mold toxicity so that I can detox. So I have taken a couple of different things this year. Specifically right now, I am just taking this spray, which is a lighter version of sort of like the detox binders that I usually would take. But earlier this year, I was more so taking this, which is a like heavy on the charcoal sort of binder. And that is a little bit intense, but has been helpful, but is not something to take forever and for longer periods of time. So again, this is not a substitute for actual medical advice. This is just me expressing what is working for me, and hopefully it helps in terms of what you can ask your own practitioners, what you think might help. So here are a few things that I'm taking for specifically my mitochondria health that might help anyone who is hypermobile. So I am currently taking a supplement called CoQ10, which is really great. For me, it's like a spray that I take a couple minutes before meals. I also take this supplement called alpha lipoic acid. And in addition to this, I was prescribed by my practitioner to take reishi mushroom. For me, at least, because I have POTS, I felt like this was lowering my blood pressure a little bit too much, so I ended up just refraining from continuing with it. But I think these couple of things have been really helpful, because both when you have, when you're treating mold and when you have dysautonomia, it can feel like your mind and your connection to your body and stuff, it can feel like everything's moving kind of slow. And these things, can really give you a lot more energy. I'm also taking TUDCA, which is more so for your bioflow and for sort of liver detox, but it does help with your mitochondria as well. And so I'm also, in addition to that, taking milk thistle, which I forgot to say was for my mold treatments, but yep, I have that too. And then in general, I have been prescribed, probiotics. For me specifically, so this is touching on histamine intolerance. So for anyone dealing with MCAs or histamine intolerance, I have taken Megaspore on and off for a couple of years. And I know for me specifically, I don't know if this is for everyone because it's not supposed to, but this is a soil-based probiotic. And most people say that it is actually better and less likely to trigger histamine intolerance. But for me, I have felt whenever I've taken it, maybe a couple days after taking it, I will get very itchy, and then I will get this sort of like the mast cell activation, and then I will get little rashes. And I'm sure I will get other symptoms but I don't notice it until I get rashes. So that's something to be aware of, that even though some probiotics are not supposed to like trigger mast cells or histamine intolerance, it kind of depends on you and your own body. I've taken this on and off for a couple of years, and I noticed this happening now that I think of it. Or whenever I start this probiotic, I think I notice that this reaction happens. So I am now switching to a probiotic called Histamine Nix, which I haven't started yet, but once I do, I will record a review of it. But it is supposed to be for people specifically who have histamine intolerance. Also, in addition, I take quercetin when I do want to eat things with high level of histamine, because histamine heavy foods are really tasty. For people with POTS, I also take an electrolyte that is high sodium and actually high potassium, and I believe higher magnesium as well. So I use LMNT electrolytes. The one that I take is flavorless, which is great because I don't know if the flavors, like the acidic ones, are the best for someone who has histamine intolerance. So I take that, and I've been finding it to be really helpful. So because I would often feel, especially by the end of the day, really weak to the point where it's like my chest would want to collapse. And whenever I do use this electrolyte, I feel like I'm a lot more active. So the way that I've been doing it is I actually do 1 packet a day, and I do a third of it. So I have like a third of it for breakfast, and then a third with lunch, and then a third with dinner. I've done it before where I've had like a half a packet or a full packet. I will say I get a little bit swollen and a little bit weird with it. So, and I believe that it might be the best to not do it all at once, but it depends on what works for you. But yeah, I have found that to be super helpful. So with my diet right now, I am trying to not eat as much like high histamine foods, but they are very tasty. So I myself have not had to completely cut them out. And I think that's because I had not triggered my mast cells in a while. So I don't think that I'm having huge reactions anymore, but we'll see. But I know for me, I'm kind of eating them moderately, or if I know something's like a big, like histamine heavy meal, like seafood for me, I love seafood. But if I have seafood, I know that I should probably take like a quercetin or something. So I will usually have that handy. And then I try not to overdo it, especially like a couple of days at a time with high histamine foods. And then otherwise, just for my stomach and for like inflammation and stuff, I am currently gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. And for treating Candida and mold, I try not to eat like starches and like high sugar foods. So things that I'm doing because I am treating mold that might help you in general with Ehlers-Danlos is I have to do a lot of detox. So first of all, I'm exercising a lot, and I'm trying to build up muscle, and I'm trying to eat more protein, which is good anyway, but just more movement in general helps me, and my blood circulation, which is important for POTS. Another thing that's super helpful that you might need to be careful about, obviously ask your like healthcare practitioner about all of this, but I have recently been going to a sauna, which is great. Like I do it once a week. I have ClassPass, which is amazing. And I get to try out like different wellness things. So currently I am doing heavy like detox and sweating and saunas. And luckily for me, I don't feel fainty. And actually I feel better after a sauna. And I feel like that's because I really get my blood flowing and my circulation going. And I think, a lot of people recommend to wear compression clothing when you have EDS, just in case, and when you have POTS, because of our blood pressure. So for me, I notice like any activity where I get to keep moving and I can kind of get my body like blood circulation going is super helpful. So in general, that's also just exercise. But for me, going to the saunas it's great, and it's actually activating. So that might not be the same for everybody, but test it out. obviously when you're in a sauna, you can open the door, like let the heat out if you need to. And so what I love to do is also for my mitochondria and for like my energy, and also to de-inflame, I like to do red light therapy. So basically after work every day, I will take some time to just lay down and turn on the red light therapy light that I have. And at the same time, I also believe that I, regulate my nervous system by listening to meditation music. So this is like singing bowls. This is also just like people chanting. This is stimulating apparently to your vagus nerve, which is like helpful when you have dysautonomia. And I think it's a great sort of routine that I've built where like every day, like after I work, like I just kind of like have my 30 minutes to 60 minutes of just like listening to therapeutic music basically. And then I'll do like 20-ish minutes of red light therapy. And I think it's really great. For me at least, it's great to do after work because usually during the day I'm a little bit fatigued from holding my body up, sitting at a desk. So that has been really helpful. Also, I will just say I had to find a better sort of ergonomic setup for me when I sit at my desk. So I basically, everything that I do for work just needs to be, sitting in front of a computer. So for me, I have found like it helps to have a standing desk. It helps to get up a lot. I may invest actually in a walking pad or some other like exercise thing that I can do so I can keep moving during the day. So I think it's really important because, at our desks, we can schlump, we can hunch over. That can make, our EDS worse, but also can make the POTS worse, or at least that's what I felt for me. So it really helps to, create more movement within your day and to like move around so you're not just overworking and fatiguing your body and overcompensating. The thing I'll say is, so I love to sing. I've gone to singing lessons. I have gotten frustrated over the years because I've had to readjust the way that I learned singing and how I sing because of EDS and POTS. And recently I did find a hypermobile like vocal coach who is hypermobile herself, and she has a community of people who she helps, and she also has a lot of content on it as well. And it's really interesting, but also it makes sense because for me, like singing is a very physical activity, so it's important and it involves your diaphragm. And I know for a lot of us with hypermobility, it can be like our posture can make us like not deep breathe actually, or at least not access our abs, or like, whatever it is, like it makes us feel like we can't take as full of a breath. And so right now it is felt very validating, and it makes so much more sense to go to a singing coach who is familiar with hypermobility. And it feels great because, you also don't feel like you're alone in being like, I don't know if my body's just going to decide to KO and like I don't know if my body's going to decide it's too fatigued to hold myself up to sing, and I don't want that to deter me from like actually ever singing. So it's been really helpful to have that. And then otherwise what I've been doing is just a lot of sort of like personal sort of like internal work. So that's just sort of going over like basically seeing a therapist and kind of expressing what my frustrations have been in not feeling heard, in like having to live with a chronic condition. And so for me myself, I actually recently got certified as a life coach this year, and at the moment I am learning sort of other additional nervous system regulation somatic practices that would help someone regulate their nervous system. And this is something that I really needed because As people with hypermobility, we may or may not also be neurodivergent, but the hypermobility itself can make you feel dysregulated because your body is trying to keep up with other people who don't have as much joint instability. And so for me, I have found that it has been super helpful to like really pay attention to like where my brain is going, how fast I'm trying to make my body move, like what has been harsh in my body, what I've been saying to my body or to others, like how specifically I can communicate to healthcare workers and to people who are trying to help me. All of these things I have been working on, as well as just my emotions and my frustrations and, the anxiety and the depression and the mental sort of overwhelm that comes with dealing with chronic conditions. And I think, as somebody who wants to go into coaching, I have found that I recently it's dawned on me that I know something that I don't think a lot of people want to sit down and unfortunately listen to other people about. And that's what it's like going through chronic conditions and what it's like trying to decipher who is the right person to work with health-wise, who should you believe, when should you speak up. So eventually, and maybe I'll have this ready soon, but eventually I would like to coach other people with hypermobility or neurodivergence or anyone who's gone through chronic conditions, as well as just really sensitive people and empathic people through, anything they're going through. So I believe I'll have a link in my description box below, but for my coaching. But yeah, I would love to listen when other people have not. So yeah, otherwise, yeah, in my life right now, it has been almost like years of rehab, but sort of in the best way. If anything, I will just say, when you are going through these health issues and when you have found that what your body needs is different from what other people's bodies need, it can be frustrating because you feel isolated, you feel like the odd one out, you feel like you need extra accommodations. But whatever it is, there's so many people in the world who have similar issues and who might end up having similar issues. We are not alone. And I think it's important that we have more awareness about all this, because if we do, then we can create more systems and lifestyles for ourselves to live better. And in general, I don't think the people who don't have hypermobility want to push their bodies to the point of feeling unwell anyway either. So I think there's a lot of solutions for us, and we don't have to live our lives constantly on supplements, and maybe those can just be temporary time periods. And if we learn more about our bodies, and if we, are more patient with ourselves, we can at least find our baseline, and it doesn't have to feel like we're chasing our health our whole lives. And there are people who understand, and there are people who are currently taking more time to understand more. So thank God people like Healing with Tracy and the MonkeyBody people and everybody else are out there to, put together information to help people. So there will always be help. Anyway, I think that's everything I wanted to say today. Also, sidebar, but I am really into wellness and spirituality and that kind of fun stuff. So, subscribe, and check out my channel for other things. I also have some meditations up that'll help you feel safer in your body. I have a couple of videos on basically personal development and more mental health stuff as well. So, and I'll be making more content based on what I'm doing health-wise, my progress, and just how to thrive and live my best life. So, also, if you can relate, or if you have any questions on anything I've talked about today, let me know and drop a comment down below. But otherwise, peace and love. Have a good one. Stay well. Bye-bye.